Welcome to this video that delves into the core concepts of handling asynchronous operations with promises, async, await, and Axios in Node.js and Express. After watching this video, you will be able to explain the fundamental concepts of promises and how they chain operations in JavaScript, use async/await syntax for clearer and more readable asynchronous code, make HTTP requests using the Axios library. Suppose you use a web application to purchase garden equipment. The application lags in performance, and you find the shopping experience disappointing. Would you like to use that application again to make any purchases? A web application with JavaScript's asynchronous programming doesn't face such issues, as it is responsive and performant. Mastering asynchronous programming is essential if you're working with Node.js and Express, as asynchronous programming improves the performance of your web applications and enhances the user experience. Let's start by exploring promises, a fundamental concept for managing asynchronous operations in JavaScript. A promise is an object that represents success or failure of an asynchronous operation and its resulting value. It allows you to chain operations in a more readable and manageable way. Now, let's learn about the states of a promise. A promise can be in 3 states: pending, fulfilled, or rejected. Pending denotes the initial state, which is neither fulfilled nor rejected. Fulfilled state denotes the successful completion of the operation. Rejected state means that the operation has failed. This allows us to handle asynchronous tasks more gracefully compared to traditional callback methods. Now, it's time to explore how to create a promise. In this code snippet, you can see the creation of a promise. To create a promise, we use the new promise constructor, which takes a function with resolve and reject as parameters. If your operation is successful, the resolve function is called. Otherwise, the reject function is called. Let's now explore how promises allow you to chain multiple asynchronous operations in sequence. In this example, the code allows you to handle the resolved value or the error using then and catch methods. These methods also return promises and chain multiple asynchronous operations in sequence. Now, let's explore a practical example where promises are used to read a file. In this code, the promises module performs the following function. It reads the contents of a file. It prints the file content to the console if the file is read successfully, and it throws an error message to the console if the file is not read successfully. Now, it's time to learn how to work with promises using async/await. Promises complicate the structure and readability of your code. Async and await are syntactic sugar over promises, which makes asynchronous code look more like synchronous code, which makes it easier for you to read and write. As async function returns a promise, you can use await inside an async function. This use of await pauses execution until a promise is resolved or rejected. Let's delve deeper and explore async/await benefits in detail. When you use async and await, asynchronous code appears more linear and easier to understand. It allows you to use the standard try-catch for error handling, which is more familiar to developers. Also, you can debug easier due to the asynchronous flow of the code. Now that you can recognize the key benefits of async/await, let's use async/await in an example. This code snippet shows how async/await function simplifies asynchronous programming in JavaScript. In this example, the async function performs the following actions. It simulates a conditional operation. It returns a success message if the condition is met. It generates an error when the condition is not met. It uses await to call async function. It handles the result or any errors using try and catch. It handles promises more easily than chains. Now, it's time to learn about Axios and how it is used. Axios is a promise-based HTTP client for the browser and Node.js. Axios makes it easy for you to send asynchronous HTTP requests to REST endpoints and perform CRUD operations. Axios automatically transforms JSON data and provides a clean and simple API. Now, let's take a look at some key features of Axios. Axios offers the following features. It uses promises for easy async await usage. It transforms JSON data automatically. It allows you to intercept requests or responses to modify them. It supports request cancellation. And it provides comprehensive error handling features. Now let's use Axios to make a GET request in a practical example. As you can see in this code snippet, first, you need to install Axios. Once installed, you can use Axios and see how it simplifies making HTTP GET requests. The Axios.get method returns a promise that resolves with the response object. This allows you to access the data. Now it's time to learn how to use Axios to make a POST request. Let's look at a code snippet that demonstrates how Axios makes HTTP POST requests and handles responses and errors. This code imports Axios for HTTP requests and creates user data object for POST request. By using Axios.post function, this code sends data to the server. Finally, it logs response data on success and error message on failure. Now it's time to use async await and Axios together to handle HTTP requests. When you combine async await with Axios, it provides a clean approach to handle HTTP requests. In this example, you can see how the code uses await to pause the function execution until the POST request completes. Finally, the result is handled inside the try block. In this video, you learn that asynchronous programming in JavaScript can build responsive and performant web applications. Promises provide you a way to handle asynchronous operations, making code more readable and easier to manage by allowing chaining of operations. The async await syntax builds on promises and enables you to write asynchronous code that resembles synchronous code, thus simplifying the handling of asynchronous tasks. Axios can be used as an HTTP client to make requests to external APIs and services, simplifying the process of handling HTTP requests in JavaScript applications.